John King. How you doing, brother?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
About 90% of the people will listen to this on the podcast, and about 10-ish%, something like that, will watch it on YouTube. And it might actually be 95.5, kind of thing. But those of you watching on YouTube, you can tell what time of year this must be by the shirt, the ever so handsome Mr. John King. He's got like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on his thing, and as we're recording this, it's the first week of December. So where you at, John?
Sacramento, California.
Beautiful place. And John's going to be talking to us a little bit. So I met John in Arizona at a sales conference, mortgage sales conference. And you had a couple things. So we're going to be doing a couple different episodes, but you had this one thing I thought was very intriguing on how you use AI to help you consume information, specifically podcasts. So, John, I'm just saying, if you've got a way that, hey, you never have to listen to Carl's podcast again, we may delete this episode. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just totally kidding. I'm totally kidding.
We'd miss
So,
your handsome face, Carl.
yeah. So, let's do a little backstory here first. So you're in Sacramento, banker, broker, loan officer, branch manager. Give us a little background.
Mortgage banker,
Okay.
work for Summit Funding.
Okay.
Been in the industry for 25 years. Worked for Summit for the last 14.
All right.
Prior to that, I worked for a big bank.
Okay.
Have always been on the retail banker side. I am
Okay.
a branch manager and loving every minute of it.
So you're branch manager over there?
Yes, I am.
Very nice. Good for you, man. Let's talk units here. I think it's always good to show like the things we talk about. These aren't, I always want to do my homework on who am I listening to, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a valid thing. So what's your unit count so far? For basically it's going to be and let's project. We only got like 20 days left in the month, so we can go ahead and
Yeah.
kind of project December. Where we're going to be at for the year.
Right about 135.
Good for you, man.
Thank you.
Good for you. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
Hey,
Appreciate
I always like to ask a question.
it.
How'd you do it?
A lot of how do you want to say it? I am an overnight success, a long time in the making.
Yeah.
So my business has always been really 50%, well, 40% past clients, 40% realtors, and 20% something else. And about 3 years ago, I decided that something else should be YouTube, and that's something else that we're not going to talk about today. But that's a long time building. But I get probably right now about 25% of my business comes from my YouTube channel.
That's very
I've
interesting.
got about 25% year to date coming from realtors, and about 40% coming from past clients. And then the other 10 is business people.
What kind of business people?
So I host three different mastermind groups that I've run for the last, well, one of them going on 7 years. So a combination of lots of different business people. It's not a singular focus on this particular, financial planner or estate planning attorney. I've been a coach. I've been coached for the last 15 years. I've been a coach for the last 10. And what I've learned in coaching, I take to small business owners because they don't know any of this stuff and there's nobody for them to turn to get business advice in a collaborative environment. And so that's something that I've been building a lot, and it's built some great relationships for me.
All right, I'm in a quandary here. So we came out of the gate saying, "Hey, we're going to talk about how you consume information using AI," and then you smack me on the side of the head that, "Hey, 25% of my business comes from YouTube," and then you go, "Oh, by the way, I run mastermind groups for local businesses." So we got three episodes here, and I'm at a quandary here. Hmm. Let's stick to our original plan, I think. But let's get on the books on the mastermind thing. I'm interested. I just got to ask you one thing on the mastermind. So
Sure.
do they pay to be a part of that, or is it kind of like a leads group that you're kind of treat as a mastermind group kind of thing?
So one of them started as a BNI group
Sorry,
that we exported from BNI, that we basically decided that wasn't the right fit. And so it's turned into a mastermind group. Another one started specifically as a mastermind group. I also learned a tactic on using a local chamber of commerce to build these relationships with with business people. So one of those relationships was with a commercial realtor, and he and I decided to establish this mastermind group. So it is not a leads group by any means. It really is about coming together every single month, and I create a topic and present on it, and we all share. And I'm using things that I'm dealing with in my business because it's crazy. First of all, just as a loan officer and a branch manager, I think, oh my gosh, all of my problems are just me. Nobody else is dealing with this,
Yeah.
which is not true.
Right. Right.
But the fact is, all business people are dealing with these things too, and they don't have the structure, the accountability that we have through coaching, that I have through coaching.
Mhm.
So I bring that to them in a non-accountable manner. So it really is not a leads group.
All right. Screw it. We're going to talk about the mastermind. All right. This is a, yeah, you know what? As Johnny Carson used to say, I own the show and I'm changing the topic. So that's what we're going to do. So, all right. So on these mastermind groups that you're doing, but we'll do for our listeners, in fact, if we can, maybe we'll even do them back to back, John. We'll figure if you're according to your calendar, your schedule. Um,
Can I
so
change my shirt in between so it doesn't look
no, we
confusing?
can leave the shirt on.
I'm just kidding.
So on the mastermind groups, how many are you running?
Three of them right now.
Three. And again, so this is not for this particular thing we're talking about here is not for loan officers. This mastermind group is for business owners, small business owners in the Sacramento. I take it in your local area.
Yeah, one of them is hybrid. That is an in-person. It's the one we converted from BNI. So we're in person and we do a Zoom live stream, not live stream, but a Zoom
Yeah.
option,
Uh-huh.
so people can join via Zoom. The one of them is wholly in person, and the other one is completely virtual. So the one that's fully on Zoom, I've got people from all over Northern California, and I don't want to paint the wrong picture. I've got a dozen people in my biggest group.
No, I
So
get
we're
it.
not
I get
talking
it.
about large groups.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Which frankly, I find groups, really, if you're going to have like a mastermind group and um, 20 is on the high side for, sitting around, a conference table or even a
Mhm.
Zoom to give every chance for everybody to have a voice on it. So, all right. And did I say, so interesting. So you're running one Zoom, one Zoom hybrid, one in person mainly only, and one virtual only. So all right. So we get to pick about all three of these. So awesome. So these are local business people, except the virtual one, which is a bigger sphere or bigger cup, as
Yep.
I word it. You don't charge for it. Where's the benefit for Jim or for John? Are you get leads from it, or do you learn from it and then use that learning to grow your business? Like, why does John do those?
It's really funny because one of my mentors asked me that when I started my largest group 7 years ago, and she said, why? Like, what's your purpose?" And I said, "I don't know." And it's kind of funny because some things just feel right to me, and I'll tell you now what I figured out the purpose to be. But a lot of things I start them because they feel right, and I don't put all my eggs in that basket. But I'm willing to commit to trying something long enough to see if it really has legs. And ultimately, it is about iron sharpening iron.
Hmm.
Now, I get business out of it, and I've gotten a good amount of business out of it. But the truth is, when I'm coaching, when I'm teaching, it gives me, first of all, a requirement to up my game. If I'm going to come to somebody and I'm going to talk to them about what I'm doing or what I think they should do, I better be doing it, or there's no integrity behind it. So I
Hmm.
think that's a big piece of it. I think that it is about building, I'll call it loyalty. These business owners don't have the this type of an environment. One of my groups, we call it CEO Roundtable, and it's a weekly group. We get together and we have different purposes. So we have open meetings and we have closed meetings. And the open meeting is the regular meeting, and you can bring guests, and everybody can come in, and we just I throw out a topic, and I kind of jokingly call it my hand grenade. So I pull the pin and I throw it, and let's see what happens. And I'll call on people and moderate it and keep the conversation going.
Okay.
But it really ultimately has a life of its own. And that conversation will last an hour and will go in multiple directions. I look at my job as starting the catalyst of the conversation and then keeping everybody involved and making sure it's fruitful.
How often do all three groups meet the same amount of times per week, per month?
No.
So tell me
So
about that.
so right now I've got a weekly group in person. I have my virtual group is monthly. Matter of fact, it starts in 39 minutes.
Okay.
So that one is a 90-minute meeting the first Thursday of every month.
Okay.
And then I have the one that converted from a BNI group. We were doing it weekly, but we're actually literally just yesterday in our meeting said, you know what, at the first of the year, we're going to convert to biweekly.
Yeah.
Just the frequency, the size of the group. It's
Mhm.
a smaller group. There's 5 in it.
Yeah.
And I just said, hey, if we're not going to grow significantly, and I'm okay with not growing,
Yeah.
we weekly is too frequent, and so we're
Yeah.
switching it up to biweekly.
I like that. I think the weekly is a little too often because the members don't have enough time to do anything substantial. I think
Yes.
the monthly might be a challenge. It might not be often enough. So I'll be really looking forward to hearing your feedback of that. That it, a friend of mine who's taught me a ton said one time I was doing something monthly. He said, I think that's a good idea. He said, but what's the name of that church that meets once a month? What's the name of them? Oh, that's right. There aren't any. And so
Yes.
which was advocation for the once a week. But I found like for me, once a week is a little often for me. I don't know. Hey, so and you made a point a few minutes ago. I couldn't agree more. And basically said nobody learns more than the teacher.
Yeah.
And brother, I have learned so much teaching. Uh, nobody's learned more than me. And
Mhm.
so and I get to hang out with cool people like you. They're in the cutting edge of things. And so yeah, nobody learns more than the teacher. So I like that. How do I how'd you get these people in? Like, how did you attract them? How did they know that you were doing one? Especially like the BNI, that was easy enough. Y'all met together and then, hey, let's just change
Yeah.
platforms. But like the virtual one, when you got people all over the state, perhaps
Yeah.
at some level, how'd somebody in La Jolla find out about you in Sacramento, so to speak?
Yeah. So the virtual one started in 2017 in person. So it switched to virtual through COVID. So we were meeting monthly
Okay.
in person at a conference room in Sacramento. So it was our cup was small. It had to be driving distance to where we were meeting.
Hmm.
COVID converted it to virtual, and we loved it. And it actually during COVID, we expanded and got a larger reach. But to answer the question, how it really started was this commercial realtor and I. We were talking, and as we were talking over lunch, and we were talking business strategy, and I said, "Well, what can we do to help each other?" And the first thing is he actually asked me. He goes, "John, I've heard you talk a lot about coaching. Will you coach me?" So I don't often coach my partners. I find that if you coach somebody who you're calling to talk about doing business with them, and you want them to take that phone call, but yet you're also going to beat them up for not doing something you asked them to or assigned them to do, they start avoiding your call sometimes.
You bet.
And so I'm not a fan. I know some people have made it work, but I'm not a fan of coaching my partners. He really pushed me, and so I agreed, and I got another realtor, residential realtor, and I started coaching them. And through about a year's worth of coaching, we started talking about how can, he loved what I was doing. He loved what I was teaching. He goes, how can we take this outside? And so it really was him pushing me. And he said, I know he owns a restaurant as well, and he's in multiple different industries. And he said, I just know so many people that I
Mhm.
think could have huge value from this. I think we should put this together as a group and do it that way without the accountability. We made a joke that's a running joke still that it's not a book club, so we're not allowed to talk about books. I mean, nothing wrong with book clubs, but it's just a
No,
running
I get
joke.
it. I get it. I get it.
Yeah. But it's really a business strategy tactical meeting, and I started with making it extremely exclusive. So you had to be invited by a current member, and
Okay.
you had to be interviewed by at least two of us in order to
Hmm.
get in the group. And so we'd go meet somebody for coffee, and we would talk about, hey, what do you know about the group? Why do you want to join? What do you think you're going to bring to the group? I really liked that approach. I think it really, most of the people who started back in 2017 are still here. And I think a large part of it was how we created that barrier of entry,
Mhm.
and making it exclusive and not something that just anybody can become a part of.
Hmm. The other thing I think that's good about being a leader, which certainly you've earned that badge, is I think it also gives us, and I'm saying us collectively of all the leaders that might be listening to this, it gives us a little bit of swag, or probably better word, confidence. That confidence comes with that. And then confidence is a really good thing in business, and we never start with it, right? I learned long ago confidence happens after we do something, not
Mm-hmm.
before. Like I'm never
Hmm.
confident before. It's only after that I go, whew, boy, pulled that off, and now I'm
Yeah.
confident of it. And I think when you look at yourself, and you're a very humble guy, but when you look in the mirror and you go, all right, I'm a leader of three mastermind groups, and I got people from across the state at some level that's part of this. Your shoulders go back a little bit. You have a little bit more confidence, and when you're making those sales calls and sales presentations and coffee meetings or whatever those things you're doing to get business, there's a definite increase in confidence as a result of doing this.
Carl, can I be real for a second?
Absolutely.
Imposter syndrome is still really big.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it is hearing you say this, is I'm honored. At the same time, it doesn't feel real. Like, well, that's not me. That's not,
Mhm.
I'm just little old John. And I'm the 7-year-old boy that is insecure. And
Mhm.
it's funny because I'm mentoring some loan officers as well. And as I coach loan officers, but I've got one young man in my branch who is an up and coming loan officer. And he says kind of the same things about, gosh, John, that confidence. I just can't wait until I have, all of your experience to have that confidence. And um, he believes once you achieve that level, and I bet a lot of your listeners think this too. Once you do all these things, then oh man, it's going to be easy, and I can make that phone call, and I won't be nervous, and I won't feel like I'm not good enough. And that's a choice, not experience doesn't give that to you automatically. You have to
Yeah.
choose to believe that and choose to lean into the fear because
Mhm.
at least for me, the fear hasn't gone away. The lack of confidence hasn't changed. It's just when I really think about it, yeah, I do have a lot to offer. But on the daily, when I'm just picking up the phone and making the call, it's really hard to have that in my mind
Mhm.
as part of the mindset.
It kind of goes back to feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
We have a running joke. The difference between fear and courage. Fear is peeing in your pants, and courage is doing what you need to do with wet pants on. Right. So, and our running joke is always wear black pants. That way they
There
can't
you
tell.
go.
It's kind of
That's right.
obviously said tongue in cheek, but a bit of truth in that. It's
Yeah.
still the fear and doing it anyway. So let me ask you. So on these groups that you're running, uh, I've just recently come to the realization that there's actually, I used to think that coaching and masterminding was the same thing. And just recently, and brother, I've been doing this decades, as you have. And it was just recently that I came to the revelation there's a difference between masterminding and coaching. That masterminding is the sharing of ideas, which is what you and I are doing right here, right?
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
podcast is a masterminding type of thing where we share ideas. Coaching is the act of making sure that you're doing what you making sure you're doing what you learned in the masterminding. Two totally different things, right?
Yeah.
So a
Agreed.
coach is making sure you run the laps, and masterminding is, hey, you need to run some laps, right? Coaching is, did you
Yeah.
do it, right? On these
Agreed.
on all three of these groups, are they primarily masterminding, or are they coaching, or is one and the other's the other, or how are you running these things?
I would call none of them coaching, and I'm going to add a word that I didn't hear you state on the difference, which is to me, coaching is accountability.
Oh, 100%.
Coaching is that's really what it's about. And so there's zero accountability in these groups.
Okay.
So from that perspective, I couldn't call it coaching at all. It is masterminding, and it is teaching. So teaching is different than coaching, and I think is different than masterminding. And so often I will present on a topic, and then we'll talk about it. And so, maybe it's know, like, and trust. That you begin to work with those you continue to work with those I'm sorry. Yeah, you begin to. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on it now, Carl. You have to know, like, and trust somebody to work with them. And you begin to work with. You can't work with somebody if you don't know them. Once you know them, you begin to work with those you like, and you continue to work with those you trust. And so in business, we have to focus on developing both likability and trustworthiness. And I believe that all of us are naturally wired to exude one over the other.
Mm.
And so that's an important topic for me that I talk about a lot, and I talk about it to business people. And so that'd be an example of something that I would talk about for 10 minutes and just explain the concept and teach a little bit on what it's meant to me in my business and how it's changed things and how I view it. And then I'll pull the pin on the grenade and throw it out there. And that's when we
Mm.
mastermind. And that's when some people have a lot to add. Some have, are very timid and not sure. And so I'll engage them in the conversation. And so I would call it a combination of teaching and masterminding.
Hey there. Hey, if you're loving the tips so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button right down there and then tap the little bell so that you never miss out on more free, cool tips coming your way. Also, I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment beneath there. Let me know what you think or tell me what you'd like to hear next. Hmm. So, how long are these meetings? Is it standard hour? Is that kind of the
The monthly one goes 90 minutes.
okay?
The weekly ones go 60.
Okay. What if I don't show up this week? Like, is there a, hey, you have to show up X amount of times or you're out kind of thing?
We started that way. I stopped doing it, and I'm talking about the one that went, my biggest one that started
Uh-huh.
out in person and went virtual. We started that way, and you can only be gone so many times. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel congruent with who I was or what we wanted the group to be. And so it was really about, look, if you don't want to be here, I'm not going to force you to be here. And if
So
the
again, it's not
content is not,
it's not an accountability group.
it's not an
Right.
accountability group. And so we're not going to force somebody to show up or join while you're on vacation. If it's valuable, you're going to make it. If it's
Mhm.
not valuable, you're going to stop coming, and that's on me, and that's on the group to make sure that somebody feels included, feels valued, and feels like they're getting something out of the time they spend.
The local one, where do you do it at? The
Uh,
in-person one.
we've we've done it in so many different places, but right now it is just in a conference room at a local business office, and it's just we've done so many different versions. We've done lunchtime at a restaurant. We've done. I hate that, by the way. Don't. I am not a fan of doing a restaurant meeting, especially if it's one where the server is going around the room and taking your order and delivering the food, because it's very distracting.
Couldn't agree more. I
Yeah.
think mealtime is not discussion of ideas.
Nope.
Mealtime is getting to know each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't agree more. Doing a masterminding or a coaching during a lunch is not yeah, the clinking of the plates and sometimes
Mhm.
people are kind enough to invite me to come talk speak at certain events, whatnot, and hey, what we can have this or you can have the lunch slot. I will never take the lunch slot. I did it one time, and I learned if I have to compete with a ham sandwich, I'm going to lose every time. So I learned never do the lunch thing. So all right, interesting thing. How do new like if somebody new wants to come into the group, do you limit it? Like say, hey, we don't have any openings right now, or how does that work?
So, again, what I originally started with my biggest group, we said we're going to cap it at 2 people per industry. Now, that was strategic because a lot of these leads groups, BNI being a good example, have a rule that says you can't be in another closed networking group. And they define a closed networking group as a group that only allows one person per industry
Okay,
because they want all of your leads going into that group that you're part of.
makes
And
sense.
so I make it clear it's not a leads group. And I also, even when we tried to cap it per industry, we said no more than 2 people in each industry. As a matter of fact, I in that group I brought in pretty early. I happened to be having coffee with a fellow loan officer, one morning right before one of the meetings, and I said, "Hey, I'm hosting this mastermind right now. Do you want to check it out?" He's been part of the group for the last 8 years. I have zero, like it's I have an abundance mindset. Like there's more than enough business out there for everybody.
Mm,
Obviously, Carl, you feel the same way.
mm,
So I'm not worried about him being part of the group.
yeah.
I believe that if I'm giving good value, then the people are going to that are attending are going to want to give back to me more so than somebody else who does the same thing in my industry that happens to sit next to me.
Mm,
So I've not really limited it. I also I'm contemplating starting another group that is
okay.
going to be more business industry specific. So I think that and I'm this is early on stages, so I'm
Hmm,
I'm
hmm.
not sure what I'm going to do. But I'm thinking, there's some value to getting. Obviously, I really need to do some realtor mastermind groups. I think I have a lot to offer realtors, and that's the imposter mindset, imposter syndrome that keeps me from doing that.
Sure.
But there's other industries, whether it be financial planners or attorneys. I've had multiple of people in those industries as members of these groups, and they get huge value. And I think that once you get somebody over the thought process of I can't share my secret sauce with my colleagues in my
Mm,
town, which is a big one. But if you can
mm,
find the people that don't have that fear,
mm.
you can do some amazing things with synergy and the things that I've learned through coaching. I deliver every single week to these groups, and it hits home every time.
Mm. Man, I'm going to challenge you to do one for the realtors, man. I think not to do that. I tell you something else I've learned about things like that, like for the realtor, you go, wait a minute, I'm not a realtor. I can't, I've never listed a home. Who am I? Right. So it's back
Right.
to the imposter syndrome. And I'm always reminded of Oprah. So I'm a huge Oprah fan, and our listeners know that. I bring her name up often, and I'm really working on getting a meeting with her. But in saying that, I've been doing that for about 4 years. I've been on a heavy track to it. So if anybody's listening has an in, I understand likely there'd be a thing of writing a check to a charity of something. That's a real common thing with people at her level, and happy to do that. But anyway, I'm reminded of what I call the Oprah effect where Oprah didn't know anything about, oh, let's call it family counseling. And so she had Dr. Phil speak,
Mhm.
right? And then she wasn't a health guru. And so she hooked up with Dr. Oz and insert in story after story after story. So now, even though Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz brought this wonderful content, she still got the credit, even though she wasn't saying, "Give me the credit, give me the credit, give me the credit." She's saying, "Hey, I bring these awesome guests," but we, as the listeners or the watchers, we give whoever put it together, they get the credit, right there. They get all the accolades, and she created an empire off of having great people speak on her show, or that's my view of it anyway. From the realtors, one thing that I found in doing things like this in the past with realtors, because I've done a real large one online with them, is I just simply interview top producing real estate agents who oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes are willing to share their best stuff. And I get the credit I get the credit for it, just because I found the right person. So yeah, I'm going to challenge you on that one, man. I think,
So, Carl, I'm going to push back on you a little bit on that one.
tell me.
I think that's stage one. So I think stage one for anybody and for my students is I'm coaching them into doing events, and whether it be lunch and learns for realtors or mastermind events, the fear of I don't know what to say, they won't listen to me is huge. And
Yeah.
step one is just put on the event and bring in a speaker.
Yeah.
For everything that you just said.
Yep.
But the truth is, and this is where I pull off the imposter syndrome mask, we're all just business people.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that I do in my business that you are dealing with the exact same challenges.
Mm.
And I don't know why I have that mental block with realtors, but I don't have the mental block with business people. I know and I am confident that the things that I'm dealing with, I don't have to bring in a guest speaker because we're
Mm.
all being real. I mentioned in one of my groups we do open and closed meetings,
Okay.
and so I'll use this as an example. The closed meeting is where you basically treat the group as your board of directors and you bring a business challenge to them. And I have
Mm.
some great examples. I have a guy who was the owner of of a shoe store, and he was expanding locations, and he was talking to us about this location that he was being presented by his commercial broker. And there was this other location, but he didn't think it was the right one. And there was a dozen of us around the table, and he showed us all the plans and all the financials, and we challenged him. And at the end of that conversation, he agreed that his primary choice was the wrong one.
Mm-hmm.
And he pivoted and he went the direction of what the group recommended. And it was he to this day will rave about that meeting changed his business trajectory. And so I think it's really about, we're all humans and we're all business people, and no matter what industry you're in, it's about having the confidence and competence to present, what am I dealing with? And if you've overcome it, great, you're ahead of me. Can you help me and the rest of the group? And if you haven't overcome it and you haven't even dealt with it, you probably will.
Mm-hmm.
So listen in, because it's coming. And likely most of us are dealing with a portion of that problem right now anyway.
You ever thought about doing a podcast?
I've been doing a podcast for 9 months, and I have thought about pivoting. I literally just ended my season yesterday saying, guys, I'll be back at the beginning of the year, and it may sound the same and it may not. I promise I'll be here. But I was focused on, I call it From Profits to Properties. And it's about teaching business owners tactics to help them grow their profits beyond their wildest dreams, and then helping them to convert those profits into long-term wealth through investing in real estate, whether it's your primary home or investment properties. I get 20 views a week, which, look, it took me 3 years to build my YouTube channel to where it is. So I'm
Yeah.
not, I just am rethinking, am I sure I'm on the right track? Like, I know I need to do podcasting, but I'm not sure. Am I trying to mix two genres, two groups, and I shouldn't do that?
Mm-hmm.
Is the business coaching arena too cluttered already? And am I not going to get seen there? And should I focus on mortgage stuff? Those are the thoughts going through my head. But yeah, I
Yeah.
started 9 months ago.
One thing I've learned about podcasting is, like, you and I have, I'm not going to call him out here. Super cool guy, brilliant man. I've learned so much from, but on his podcast, he's got three target audiences. And, one is one group of people. I'm going to give, I don't want to be disrespectful because I just love this man. But like, one is, and I'm going to make up the categories here so I don't identify this person. One is, it's a podcast for dog owners. The other is new mothers. And the other is car aficionados. They have nothing to, like, it's no, and in every third episode, I find fascinating because it's directed, in this case, to loan officers. The
Yeah.
other two of the three are not. And I just think, God, you need to have one target audience and stick with that one. And if you have these other target audience, awesome, do another podcast, right? Do a different title, do three different podcasts. So anyway, so
Carl, we'll get into that on our YouTube podcast, because I have 5 YouTube channels. And my first one, there's no real audience. Like, it's everything, and it's never performed well. The one that I'm getting most of my deals from is focused on a particular audience, a
don't
particular.
don't give it. That's our
No,
teaser.
I know,
Okay,
but it's
okay.
really, really specific.
All right, all right. Well, we'll make that one the next one. And this was good, man. This is really good. So, all right, let's end with this. I know you got to go and start your mastermind meeting. So, hey, I'm wanting to do this. Give me my first 3 steps or 2 steps. Like, I want to do this. What do I do first?
Find a partner. Find somebody else that wants to do it with you, another business person, a realtor if you're going to go after realtor masterminding. I think that, again, it's about masterminding, so don't try and go it alone. We grew very fast because it wasn't just me trying to do it.
Mhm.
My second piece of advice is, really talk about it a lot. Like, the Carl, I think you're the one that talks about the octopus method. Like, put
Yeah.
the information out there everywhere you're at. Like, talk to everybody, mention it all the time. It needs to be top of mind, and just be really enthusiastic about the opportunity that it entails, and then just stick to it. Like, for a lot of these groups, I started with myself, the partner that I got to kind of co-found with me, and then maybe 1 or 2 other people. And we just kept trying, hey, let's make this 45 minutes of really good content, and then 15 minutes of who else do you know that could be a valuable addition to this group. and it just grew organically from there.
Yeah, good for you, man. You're a cool dude, John. It's easy to see why you're having great success, brother. I know there's a lot of hard work involved to it, but you're just a very humble, very pleasant, a giving. That's why we get along so well. You know, you're that abundance mindedness just really shines out. So good stuff, man.
Thank
All
you.
right. So on our next episode, we're going to talk about your YouTube channel. So I'm really looking forward to hearing that. But this was some good stuff in here. So, all right, man. Hey, is before you go, is there anything I should have asked you today that I didn't so far?
Well, I'm not allowed to share anything about the other topics, Carl. So, no, there is nothing in particular
Say,
on
Carl, you
this.
should ask me about my YouTube channel. I'm
Right.
doing great with that, and we'll do that on the next. And I'll try to schedule this. I'll get with. I think Jamie's the one that schedules these podcasts when we release them. So I'll make sure we. So the next episode you should listen to will be the next episode, which will be John and I talking about this YouTube channel. So good stuff, John. Thank you, brother.
All right. Thanks, Carl.
So Mr. John King, good stuff, brother. Hey, as you can see, it's no accident that John's closing an average of 11 units per month. Because if you took how many closed for the year divided by 12, it's 11. So very, very, very respectable numbers. And it doesn't happen by luck. It doesn't happen by chance. It happens by design. And if you know the word that he kept coming up with was accountability. And boy, that is my word of the year for 2026 is we all need more accountability on the areas that we actually want to improve. And I have found there's no improvement without that. And the other thing keeps coming in my mind is it's time to get serious. It's time to get serious, right? I think that's my theme for 2026 to myself also, of course. It's time to get serious. It's time to get serious. So yeah, so when you're ready to get serious and see what accountability, a lot of people think accountability is a painful thing. It doesn't have to be, right? It doesn't have to be. And I'd love to talk to you about that. If you just go to getmoreloans.com, and somewhere on there, just put, tell me about Carl's new accountability group. We're really seeing some good stuff. I think it's full right now, but we're gonna be opening up another group here in a little bit. And if you just want to get on the first notification status, something like that, would love to talk to you about that. So getmoreloans.com and be sure to tell them, put you on the first notification list. It'll be a good thing for you to do. So, all right, I think that's it. All right, thanks everybody, and be sure to listen in for John's next episode. So appreciate so much the time that you give us by listening to the podcast and supporting it and giving us the great recommendations or the great feedback on it. So I really appreciate that. So, all right, we'll talk to you when you call in, and we'll see you on the next episode.